The rain-slicked streets of Columbus, Ohio, gleamed under the sodium glow of streetlights as Ted Williams trudged through the night, his worn-out boots splashing in puddles that mirrored the shattered fragments of his once promising life. It was the winter of 2010, and the cold bit into his bones like an unrelenting foe, but Ted had long ago learned to push it aside, focusing instead on the rhythm of his footsteps, each one a defiant beat against the odds. Born in 1957 in Detroit, Michigan, Ted's early years were a tapestry woven with the threads of dreams and determination. His father, a factory worker with a deep baritone that filled their modest home with gospel hymns on Sundays, had passed down more than just jazz. He'd instilled in young Ted a love for the spoken word. "Your voice is your superpower, son," his dad would say, ruffling Ted's hair after a family dinner where the boy would recite poems or mimic radio announcers with uncanny precision. Those moments were golden, fleeting sparks in a childhood marked by the grit of urban life, where the hum of assembly lines and the distant wail of sirens formed the soundtrack to his youth. As a teenager, Ted discovered the magic of broadcasting. He tuned into WCHB-AM, the local soul station, mesmerized by the DJs whose voices danced through the airwaves, painting pictures with words. "That's gonna be me," he told his reflection in a cracked mirror, practicing inflections until his throat ached. High school brought opportunities. Ted joined the debate team, his articulate delivery winning arguments and admirers alike. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. His parents' marriage frayed under financial strain, and by 18, Ted was navigating the world alone, hitchhiking to Columbus with a duffel bag of clothes and an unshakable belief in his talent. He landed odd jobs delivering newspapers, washing cars, but broadcasting called to him like a siren's song. In the early 80s, he broke into radio at WVKO-AM, starting as a part-time announcer. The studio was his sanctuary, dim lights, the glow of dials, and the thrill of his voice booming out to thousands. "This is Ted Williams, bringing you the hits," he'd say, and listeners called in, praising his smooth timbre, that rich, resonant quality that made every word feel like a caress. Success came in waves. Ted climbed the ranks, voicing commercials for local businesses, his golden voice selling everything from car dealerships to soul food joints. He married, had children, 4 beautiful kids who looked up to him as their hero. Life felt full, purposeful. But fame's shadow loomed. The radio world was cutthroat, and personal demons crept in. Alcohol became a crutch after long shifts, turning celebrations into regrets. A divorce shattered the family, custody battles leaving Ted isolated. Jobs dried up as stations consolidated, and his habit worsened. By the 90s, the man who once commanded airwaves was commanding nothing but eviction notices. He bounced between cities, Detroit, Atlanta, chasing gigs that never materialized, sleeping in shelters or under bridges when the bottle won. "I hit rock bottom," Ted would later reflect, his voice steady but eyes distant. The streets of Columbus became his reluctant home, a labyrinth of alleyways and overpasses where survival meant scavenging for food stamps and dodging the indifferent stares of passers-by. Years blurred into a haze. Ted's children grew distant, his ex-wife's pleas for sobriety falling on deaf ears. He panhandled during the day, his sign evolving from simple pleas to that poignant declaration of his gift. Nights were the worst, curled in a cardboard box, replaying glory days in his mind like faded reels. Yet, even in despair, Ted clung to his voice. He talked to himself, narrate the world around him. "And now, folks, the sun rises over the Scioto River, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold." It kept him sane, a lifeline to the man he used to be. Friends from the old radio days occasionally spotted him, offering spare change or a hot meal, but pride kept Ted from asking for more. "I'm not a charity case," he'd mutter, though hunger gnawed at him relentlessly. Then, January 2011 arrived like a thief in the night, cold and unforgiving. Ted stationed himself at the exit ramp of Interstate 270, his sign held high despite numb fingers. Traffic hummed by, a river of metal ignoring the castaway on its banks. That's when Dorrell Chenoweth III, a videographer for the Columbus Dispatch, pulled over. Chenoweth was on assignment, capturing the human stories behind the economic downturn, when Ted's sign caught his eye. "Hey, man, "What's your story?" the reporter asked, camera in hand. Ted hesitated, then spoke. "I've got a voice like James Earl Jones, smooth as butter." Skeptical but curious, Chenoweth prompted him to demonstrate. Ted cleared his throat, and out poured that voice, a deep, velvety, authoritative. "This is Ted Williams, the man with the golden voice," he intoned, and the air seemed to still. Chenoweth's jaw dropped. He filmed it all, a raw, unscripted moment of brilliance amid ruin. The video hit YouTube that evening, titled simply "Homeless Man with Golden Voice." Within hours, views skyrocketed at 10,000, then 100,000. Shares rippled across social media, from office cubicles to celebrity Twitter feeds. "This guy needs a break." Comments flooded in. By morning, it was national news. Ted, oblivious in his shelter bed, woke to a phone buzzing of his number from the sign. Calls poured in, radio stations, TV producers, even the Cleveland Cavaliers offering a job. "Is this real?" Ted whispered, tears streaming as he clutched the phone. For the first time in years, hope flickered, warm against the chill of his reality. But as the world rushed toward him, Ted wondered if he could step into the light without stumbling. The journey from shadows to spotlight was just beginning, fraught with temptations and tests that would either redeem or reclaim him. The whirlwind descended on Ted Williams like a tornado of flashing lights and fervent voices, sweeping him from the gritty underbelly of Columbus into the glaring spotlight of national fame. It was January 20, 2011, when Ted boarded a private jet to Los Angeles, courtesy of a media mogul who'd seen the video and sensed a story ripe for the telling. As the plane lifted off, Ted pressed his face to the window, watching the city shrink below, a mix of awe and terror churning in his gut. "Lord, don't let me mess this up," he prayed silently, his golden voice now the currency that could buy back his life. Upon landing, he was whisked to NBC studios for an interview on The Today Show. Matt Lauer greeted him warmly, but Ted's hands trembled as he adjusted his borrowed suit to his first clean clothes in months. When he spoke, that voice filled the screen, captivating millions. "I've been down, but I'm not out," he said, eyes shining with unshed tears. The audience applauded. Calls flooded the switchboard. Overnight, Ted became a sensation, dubbed the Golden Voice Guy. His story a beacon in an era of economic despair. Offers cascaded like manna. The Cleveland Cavaliers signed him as an announcer, a dream job with a six-figure salary. Radio stations vied for his return, and book deals whispered promises of stability. Ted reunited with his children, their hugs mending fractures he'd thought permanent. His eldest daughter, Kendra, wept as she embraced him. "Daddy, we never stopped believing." For a moment, it felt like redemption's embrace. Hotels with plush beds, meals without rationing, and adoring fans who saw in him their own unspoken aspirations. But fame's undercurrent was treacherous. The alcohol that had felled him before lurked in every celebration toast, every late-night party thrown in his honor. Ted checked into rehab almost immediately, determined to conquer his demons. "This voice is a gift from God. I won't squander it again," he vowed to his counselor, the words echoing with the sincerity that had first won the world. Yet, the pressure mounted. Paparazzi hounded his every move, turning simple errands into spectacles. Skeptics emerged, questioning if his talent was hype or substance. A Dr. Phil appearance delved into his past, airing dirt on laundry addictions, abandonments that left Ted raw and exposed. "I was a father who failed," he admitted on camera, voice cracking for the first time, revealing vulnerability beneath the polish. Viewers empathized, but whispers of relapse followed. In February, Ted signed with the management team, but creative differences soured quickly. He voiced Super Bowl ads, his timbre selling cars and snacks, but the glamour felt hollow. "It's not just about the voice, it's about the heart," he'd tell interviewers, yet the heart yearned for normalcy amid the chaos. By spring, cracks widened. A reported altercation at a radio station fueled by frustration and a slip into old habits made headlines. Ted retreated to Ohio, seeking solace in family. His son, a budding musician, collaborated with him on tracks, their voices harmonizing in healing sessions. But sobriety was a battle, one daily. Ted started a foundation, Ted Williams Voice of Hope, mentoring at-risk youth on harnessing talents against adversity. Speaking at schools, he'd share his sign story, "Don't let circumstances silence your gift." Teens listened, rapt, seeing in him a survivor, not a celebrity. Financially, he bought a home in Columbus, a modest haven with the recording studio where he'd practice late into the night, voice warm-ups blending with memories. As 2011 unfolded, Ted stardom from supernova to steady glow. Hollywood came calling a role in a film, voice work for animations, but he chose authenticity over excess. A relapse in late summer tested him. Tabloids' growing golden voice falls silent, but Ted rose again, entering another program. Rock bottom has a basement, he quipped in recovery, humor masking pain. His ex-wife, watching from afar, reached out. Reconciliation talks bloomed, not as lovers, but as co-parents united for their kids. By year's end, Ted anchored a morning show in Detroit, his hometown, voice steady as he bantered with co-hosts. Listeners tuned in, not just for the sound, but the story of a man who'd clawed back from oblivion. Years passed, and Ted's life evolved into quiet triumph. By 2015, he'd authored a memoir, A Golden Voice, detailing the highs and lows. Proceeds funding scholarships for aspiring broadcasters. He mentored at homeless shelters, his sign now a relic displayed proudly. Personal losses tempered joy. His father's passing in 2013, a reminder of roots, but they fueled his resolve. Romantically, he found steady companionship, a partner who saw beyond the voice to the soul. Challenges persisted, health scares from years on the streets, but therapy and faith anchored him. In 2020, amid pandemic isolation, Ted pivoted to podcasts, interviewing others with untold stories, his voice a bridge of empathy. Today, in 2025, Ted Williams stands as a testament to resilience. At 68, he hosts a community radio segment in Columbus, voice as golden as ever, sharing inspirations that echo his own. He's a grandfather now, bouncing grandkids on his knee, reciting tales of the man with the sign. Reflecting on that fateful interview, Ted says, "It wasn't luck, it was grace meeting grit." His journey reminds us that buried talents can unearth futures, that even in the darkest alley, a voice can call forth light. From homelessness to heart mender, Ted's story whispers, your gift awaits discovery. Don't let the world pass you by without hearing it.